It's early October in North Carolina, and you know what that means. Boat winterization. I'm going to go through the process of how I winterize my 242 XE series. I'm going to go through how I fog the motors, how I change the oil, spark plugs, and a few other things. Let's make it happen. I keep my boat at a marina, and I'll be towing it home to do the winterization process. But before I take it home, I'm going to add about 20 ounces of STA-BIL. I'll add a total of 40 ounces later on when I bring the boat back to the marina. I'll fill it up with gas at that point, and that way I'll know that the STA-BIL is fully mixed. All right, we've got about 10 ounces left in there of a 32 ounce fluid container. So like I said, when I get back, on the way back to the marina, I'll top off with gas and finish up then. Now that we've got the boat at the house, let's go over some of the stuff I'm going to use to winterize and do some of the basic maintenance on the boat. So I've got some fogging oil. I've got some silicone spray that I'll use for the clean out ports and spraying parts of the motor. Got some corrosion block. I'll use that for some of the electrical connections that are kind of exposed to elements. Got some brake fluid. I'll use that if I need to top off the trailer. I've got a Yamaha Yamalube kit off of Amazon. It came with a filter and spark plugs, so about 2 of those. We got 8 quarts of oil, 4 for each motor. Got a 5/8 inch socket for removing the spark plugs, and just in case I drop a spark plug into the motor and can't get it out, I've got a magnet to help pull that out of the cylinder head. I've got a oil filter wrench. I shouldn't need this, but I've got it just in case. This hose came with the boat. It's used to run water into the motor after we start it. And I've added this shut-off valve to turn the water off and on so I don't have to get out of the boat. And then I have this little tool where once I'm done with everything, when I flush all the water out of the boat, I'll use air connected to the water hose that came with the boat. I've got my sockets. I think I'll just need only the 10 millimeter out of this set. I'm not real sure. I think there's one other one, but it should be only 2 that I need out of this. And then I've got a bunch of paper towels. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fog the boat. I am going to change the oil, so I'm going to run this for about 5 to 10 minutes to get the oil running. And after about that 5 to 10 minute period, I'm going to fog the engines. And the way I'm going to do that is there is this breather tube right here that goes right into the intake. And we'll pull this tube off and we'll spray fogging oil directly in there. And what I'm going to be looking for out the back is a little bit of white smoke. I'm going to shoot quite a few shots of fogging oil in there, and we'll do about, I don't know, 10 to 15 shots of it, like small sprays. And basically what we want to do is get the cylinders coated. So before I do that, I'll go ahead and plug this hose in with the water, and then we'll get the boat started here in a moment. Let's turn the batteries on. Get this out of the way. Get this one. This one. Make sure the key is on. We'll start this one. We'll turn the water on. Make sure the water is going to come out of one of these spouts. There it goes. So I'm going to let the motors run for about 10 minutes. I'll be back to show you the fogging. Okay, so I'm going to rev the engine up just a little bit, get it around 2,500 RPMs. got one done. You turn the water off on this side. You gotta put the breather hose back on.
Sometimes it won't be back on. There it is. Go right back in. Get back in place. Needs to go. There it goes.
Okay. So now, make sure that's turned off. Do this. We'll go over to the other side. Okay, now that we got the water installed or hooked up on the port side, let's start that motor. There we go. The water turned on. It's running. We're going to check out the side of the boat for the pee holes. Wait for the water to come out. That's a good sign. Alright, now we're going to wait another 10 minutes for this motor to warm up and do the same thing. I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to rev the engines up to around 2,500 RPMs. Alright, the same thing. We'll remove the breather hose. Oh, I just killed it. I need to start it up. It's too much fogging oil. Put it back in neutral. There we go. Alright, now we got both motors fogged. Let me put the breather pipe back on, or hose.
Spare pair of pliers kind of comes into play. It's nice. You turn the water off first. There we go. Later we're going to blow the water out of the motor. You definitely don't want the pipe to run. Alright, there we go. Make sure it's on there.
Okay, we're ready to change the oil. I've got my oil pump ready to go. What we need to do is to remove this dipstick here and then run this pipe all the way down to the bottom of the motor and pump the oil out. So, let me get a paper towel. Let's pull the dipstick up. Ah, there we go. Look at the oil. Look at it's pretty dirty. Look at that. That's just after from April to October that it's that dark. All right, lay that to the side. Pump this in. Snake it all the way down to the bottom where you feel it hitting the bottom of the motor. There we go. Then we just pump away. So the idea, a rule of thumb, is that however much oil you pull from the motor is how much you should put back in. You can kind of see the oil go up the tube right now. Getting there. Oh, I gotta take the oil cap off right here. It doesn't want to move. Get a pair of pliers. There we go. Get my bucket. Put this cap, clean it off. Also, when I take things off the motor, I like to keep them organized. So things on the left went on the left motor, things on the right went on the right motor. So out of the way. So while I was doing that, I'm going to take a Phillips head screwdriver and I'm going to take off the engine cover. After I remove the engine cover screws, remove the engine cover and keep the oil cap on. Get that out of the way. And now we'll remove the spark plug coil packs. So I'll use a 10mm socket to loosen all these up. Now, I need to open up each spark plug coil pack, lay it off to the side. You could disconnect them, but you don't need to. All right. Hey, there we go. So use my 5/8 socket to break each one loose. There's that one. I just want to remove it. Use my little magnet to get in and get it out. There it goes. Yep. Okay. I'm going to add some anti-seize to the threads so you can see this. Get some all around. A little bit more. You don't need a ton. So I'm going to wipe some of this off actually. So I'll take it and just to clean it down. Alright, that's enough right there. Nice and clean. Alright. What I do is I take my magnet, put the spark plug down the hole, get it set down, take a screwdriver, push it off. I'm going to start it by hand. Screwed in. There it goes. And once it's tight, I want to go a little further because it's kind of like there's like a crush washer there that we need to seat down in. So you don't need to tighten the tar out of it, but good and snug is kind of what you want. There it goes. On to the next one. Here we go. Nice and snug. All right. Now, put the boots back on. Spray each one with some corrosion block. Just do hit them. That's enough right there. Pop that one back in. Yeah, let's clean that out a little more. A little too much.
Just a little.
So now we're going to put the bolts back. These have a little bit of Loctite still on them. I'm just going to leave it on. I don't like to put too much Loctite on these bolts because over time it just gets gummed up all over the place. Because this is a part that I regularly work on, taking the spark plugs in and out. So I want them to be clean, especially if I'm out in the water and I'm trying to take these out and they're kind of hard, especially when the motor's been running hot for a while. Sometimes the screws might expand more than the motor and they're hard to get out. So I don't put as much Loctite on them as maybe I should. But anyway, what I'm doing is I'm putting them back in the order I took them out. And I'm going to tighten them down to where they're kind of snug. And then while the oil, I'm going to start on the next motor after this, pulling the oil out. And while I'm pulling the oil out on that motor, we'll change the oil filter on this one. Pretty tight. Now this is an aluminum head, and these are look like stainless steel screws. So you don't want to tighten them too much because you will strip this head with these screws, or these bolts. So good hand tighten is good enough. Do not over tighten. All right, put that back in there. All right, let's put the cap back on, our cover. Line this up on this side. There we go. All right, get that one in there. I need to get some new bolts because whoever worked on this motor before me really did a number on this little guy. I mean, the head of that is just gnarly. So I gotta get some more of those. But for now, they'll work. Again, I want to hand tighten these. I probably want to put some Loctite on these at some point, but for now I'm just going to leave it as is. I'll be back in this motor come spring, checking it over, make sure everything's good. Okay, now let's start on the other motor. Okay, I've taken out about 7.5 quarts of oil. Here's a quick tip. When you pull this pipe out of the dipstick, you need somewhere to place it, because if you just let it lay around the boat, some of the excess oil will drip all over the place. So what I do is through the handle and through the pump shaft, I just shove it through there, and it tends to sit right there by itself. So here comes the fun part. I've got some paper towels below that oil filter. I got to take it out. So when I go to take it out, I got to just keep going and move as fast as I can. Let me check it to see if I can loosen it by hand. Nope, I can't do that. So get my handy dandy oil filter wrench here. Get this locked on. Try to break it loose. There it goes. Alright. So I can get that with a hand now. Keep these paper towels right under it. Oh, come on. There it goes. And all the oil with it. Oh, come on. Trying to fall through the motor bit. There it goes. Oh, there it goes. Oh, not the sound I wanted to hear. Alright. So now I gotta get down in there and wipe all that out. That's not too bad. Let's get down in there. Yeah, only a little bit got down. Nice. That's good. Alright. Wipe this off real quick. Clean it. Now, I've got my setup kind of like this. I've got a pail here. I've got the old boxes that the filters came out of. So that's the old filter. And I got two new filters. I put about 70% of oil in them, and they've actually already soaked into the filter itself. So these filters are saturated. I've actually rubbed around the gasket a little bit of oil in each one. So I don't have to move as fast putting it back on. And they say to put these on and hand tighten. I don't know if they're talking about hand tightening with gloves that have oil on them or gloves without oil. So there's a difference. Right, there it goes. So what I do is I take a paper towel, put on there so I have grip, and get it on there, and tighten as tight as I can with my hand. Here we go. Ah! That's on there now. All right, good. All right, now on to the other side. So we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna put a bunch of paper towels down there, get my wrench, loosen it, and then try to not make a mess. So I'm gonna get some more laid out, because this side it will run under the motor and get all over the place. Get that in there. Can't be too cautious. I'd rather eat up a bunch of paper towels than have to clean under that motor. Here we go. This should do it. Let's see, can I undo this one by hand? Nope. Alright, gotta do the same thing over here. Whoops. Get that hooked on there. Come on. There we go. You get on the end and loosen it. There we go. It's right on the edge here. Okay. I want to see if I can get right under the thing. Ah, come on. Alright, that's coming out a little bit. Move on this bad boy. Stop it from moving. That's how you do it. No oil in the bottom of the boat. Nice. You want to get the oil off the motor, because next spring when I start the motor and you smell oil burning, you start to think something's wrong. Then you start chasing down what's wrong, and you forgot that you left oil in the motor. Alright, here we go. So add the other one. Same thing, this one was filled about 70% with oil. Let it set for a while. Absorbed into the filter. Put a little oil around the gasket there. And then we just spin it on. Makes it clean. Alright. Use a paper towel to tighten it. There we go. That's tight. Alright, so I'm going to start the engines, get them running a little bit so I can just circulate some of that oil in the pumps. I'm not going to run it long, it's just short, but before that I got to put oil into the motors. So I took about 7.5 quarts out, so that means about 3.25 quart per motor I'm going to add back. As I add it back, I'll check it with the dipstick. That does it for today. Tomorrow I will finish winterizing the boat. I will flush out the water with my hose I showed you earlier, air in it. I'm going to start the boat and run the oil a little bit in the motor just to kind of get those oil filters full of oil. And then we will clean the boat and wax it and then take it back. And I'll show you some of those other things that we're doing with it as well.